Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over the best XDefiant settings across the board, whether it's maximizing your FPS or finding those small settings that you may not just know where it is and you might want to just throw on, to finding the best sensitivities and response curves for your aim assist. We'll cover all of that quickly in today's video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Now, starting off under gameplay and UI, I personally play on controller, keyboard, mouse, controller. It really doesn't matter, whichever you're more natural with. I just personally play controller because I grew up playing COD on consoles and I've always been a controller player. Moving on, field of view does not matter. It's completely up to your preference. I like mine sitting around 110, so it's not too far out, but it's also close enough where I can get those long range kills without feeling like I'm so far away from my gun. ADS field of view is essentially just whether when I ADS is my screen zooming in a little bit and lowering my field of view, or is it staying the same? Consistent is the way you want to go. You want to make sure that's on. ADS behavior, use hold, don't use toggle. Toggle's weird. ADS sensitivity transition, you want to keep that instant. Melee during ADS, it's completely up to your preference. I like to keep it off because I don't like to fat finger a melee while I'm aiming down the scope and then just dying because I meleeed instead of shooting. Aiming interrupts reload, I have that on. So if I'm in the middle of reloading and somebody comes flying around a corner, I just have to aim in. It'll cancel that reload and have a better chance of living. Crouch behavior is on toggle. Sprint behavior is on tap for me. Some people like hold. I just use tap. I also have auto sprint turned on. I want to keep my hands for the long term instead of smashing in the sprint button every time. So all I do is push forward on my joystick and my character is full sprinting. Auto sprint threshold, keep that at 10. Sprint interrupting reload, I have that off as well because, like I said, I have mine on tap and auto sprint. So if I move at all when I'm reloading, it's just going to constantly cancel it. Slide behavior, make sure you have that on tap and not hold. Auto reload weapon is complete preference. Auto switch weapon, same thing. Auto grab ledge, please keep this off because if you run up to a ledge or if you run next to a ledge in the middle of a gunfight, it's going to automatically throw you over and you're just going to lose your gunfight because of that. Walk behavior, just hold rather than toggle. Score behavior, hold rather than toggle as well for me. And then your HUD limits and notifications are completely up to you. I keep mine at all the basics. I like my damage numbers off. Some people might like that on. It shows you like around their head or their body when you're hitting them how much damage you're doing. Enemy health bars, please keep these on or else you're not going to know how low the person you're fighting is. Minimap rotation, I like to keep this off. Distance unit, I have in meters. You can have meters or yards. FPS display, you want to make sure this is on so you see how much FPS you're getting in game. It just helps you a lot. Obviously, if you want that cleaner look to your game, you really don't care, you can have it off. Ping display, I like to have mine on, know how well the server is doing for me. Network info, I have off. Diagnostic overlay, I have off as well. Now, the big setting that I found recently is the team composition overlay. If you look at my past video or any videos of my gameplay, on the right and left side, it's going to be showing the list of the two teams, the characters, as well as their ultimates, their abilities. It shows your teammates, like what they are, how far away on their ults they are, and it shows the enemies and which classes they've selected and whether or not they're dead. It'll basically grayscale their name when they're dead, so it can help you notice how many of the enemy team is alive at the moment. Moving on down to mouse and keyboard, I haven't touched any of this since I don't play mouse and keyboard, so this is all for you. Go to another video, look up mouse and keyboard settings for XDefiant. I'm sorry you won't find that here. I just play on controller. That being said, moving into controller, I like to play on default flipped. This means I shoot with my bumpers rather than my triggers. I feel like I get a better response out of them and it's just more natural for me ever since I flipped. Granted, now I have a controller with trigger stops, so it really doesn't matter. Stick layout is default. My aim assist is standard. You want to make sure it's not disabled. You want to make sure both of these are set to 0, your strength and follow. Aim response curve type is completely your preference. You have standard, linear, and reverse S curve. I like linear. As for your sensitivity, I like to keep mine pretty low. I play around 45. I think the default is either 40 or 50. I like playing around here. I know some people play up at 60 or 70. Some people will play down at 30, but this is my comfort zone. So basically find your comfort zone with your sensitivity. My ADS sensitivity multiplier, I have it at 0.85 times. That just means when I'm ADS, it's going to go a little slower, so you can be more precise when aiming down the sight. My ADS sensitivity multiplier for high zoom, like your scopes and everything, is just at 1. If I'm using a sniper scope or something, I want to make sure it's normal with my regular gameplay because I can flick around a little bit easier since you don't have as much movement to you. Your left and right stick dead zones are completely dependent on how your controller is. I have my left stick up to 2 rather than 1 because my left stick has a little bit of drift, but you basically want to keep these down at 1. If you notice you are drifting either side to side walking or your aim is going side to side, that means you have to up your dead zone. Right stick is for that aiming and left stick is for your walking. Make sure you have your acceleration speed multiplier set at 0. You do not want this on at all. It'll mess you up completely. Your invert axis, some people are used to playing with an inverted axis. I don't recommend having it on if you're not, because it's going to feel weird. You're going to look up and your character is going to be looking down. It's going to be complete opposite of everything you put in. I have controller vibration off as well. well, just because I don't like the feeling of it, but that's again just your preference. We don't need to touch on audio or voice chat. That's pretty simple settings of you picking your inputs and how loud you want the game in your ears. Nothing that I can tell you will change your opinions on those. Now into the important section, we got the video and graphics. This will be everything you need to know to boost your FPS as high as you can get it. All my settings are set strictly for performance. My PC is not the best in the world, and I like to make sure I have as much frames as possible, especially when I'm streaming. If you are one of the people that like just seeing all the game and its glory and you have a crazy computer, feel free to throw everything on the max, but this is going to be specifically for performance for your PC. So you want to keep your game on full screen. I know some people like to play windowed full screen, because the one problem with this game, if you have multiple monitors, a tab can get stuck behind the game and you can't get it out, which is something hopefully they'll fix in the future, but full screen is going to be the best for your frames. Your display resolution should be 1920 by 1080 unless you like to play stretch, but stretch really doesn't work for this type of game. Your refresh rate is going to be your highest refresh rate for your monitor. Mine is 240 hertz, so it's set right there. You want triple buffering off, reduce latency on. Your reflex low latency, this is another big setting. You're going to want to make sure this is turned to on plus boost. Brightness and contrast are completely dependent on how you want to see the game. I left mine at default because it doesn't change much. I don't want to have my game super bright or super contrasted. You want to have your DX12 renderer turned on. It'll lock all these settings for you, and graphics quality is going to be custom. You don't need to touch this because it's become custom when you mess with the settings underneath it. VSync I have off. Nobody likes VSync. VSync sucks. Make sure it's always off in your gameplay. Frame rate limit, I have mine off. You can turn it on, but it only goes to a max of 200. I have a 240 hertz monitor. It doesn't hurt to have it capped. Now, if your monitor is less than 200 hertz, you're gonna make sure you cap it at your monitor's hertz number. This is gonna make sure the game's not trying to run faster than your monitor can process, and it'll save your PC a little bit of work. Now, going through the settings, this will be really quick. You're gonna want your shadow quality to be low, your spot shadows low, your spot shadow resolution set to low, and your contact shadows off. You're gonna see a really common theme here. Mostly everything is turned low or off, except for some of the more important, like resolution scale. This is basically how high quality your game is. You want to make sure that's at 100%. Sharpening at 0, particle detail at low, volumetric fog at low, global reflection quality at low, local reflection quality also off, your vegetation quality low, subsurface scattering you want off, ambient occlusion low, object detail I have mine at 39. It can be like 40 is a fine number. I just saw somebody put it at 39. I didn't know if this was a specific thing or not, but you want it basically between that like 35 and 45 range, because you don't want it to be super detailed, because I don't care how detailed that can on the ground is. That's just going to take away more FPS from my game. Extra streaming distance, keep that at 5. Lens flare turn off, even though I feel like at sometimes on Attica Heights the sun is blaring in my eyes. I'm like, I have lens flare off, so I can only imagine with having that on it might be blinding. Water quality keep to low, chromatic aberration turn off, terrain quality keep that at low. And that is basically all your video and graphics settings. That's going to make sure you are getting the best FPS quality. Now, language and accessibility, there aren't too many settings that are important here, but there's a couple I use that can be really useful to you guys. So going in, obviously your language, whatever language you speak and know, you're going to have that there. You can change your language to have cooler language that you might like if I want to hear all the voice lines in Spanish, I can change my game language to Spanish. I can hear them speaking Spanish. It can sound really cool. Some people do that with Korean and other languages that they just really enjoy, but I recommend keeping it at English so you can understand what you're watching. I like to have subtitles on. It's just a complete aesthetic purpose for me. Like, I get to see at the bottom of my screen what's being said. For example, if I hear an alt, it'll put it at the bottom, so in case I didn't hear it, I can have that slight visual representation on my monitor as well. Language size contrast is completely up to you. One important setting I like to use is the full colorblind. I'm not even going to try to say that because English is really hard, but it's usually set to none. I keep it all the way to the right. This is basically blue yellowish. I like this because there's a lot of maps that have greens and a lot of maps that have reds, so basically finding the colors that aren't used as much can be really beneficial. I did notice though sometimes the yellow likes to blend in at some spots. I know there's some like if a shield's in a doorway, I can't really see the shield that well, but it's just here and there, and it's going to be the same every colorblind setting you have on, and that's completely your preference. Flashbang effect, this is something I'm going to change right now because I've been meaning to change it. I want mine on dark. This is basically going to determine if your monitor flashes white or flashes black. One, it helps my eyes better if I'm not getting blinded by the flash, especially when I'm streaming and my entire room lights up because a flashbang landed at my feet. Whereas dark, the effects of the flashbang, yeah, you're full blind, it's not going to matter either way, but I feel like coming out of it, you get a little better reaction time because it's not as hazy white, it's more just getting brighter, which I feel like is a better transition to adapt to. Now, the rest of these are completely up to your preference if you want narration on, chat windows, but this is what I have all of mine set to. But yeah, that's it. That's all the settings you really need to change or want to change, and a quick walkthrough of what I like to run on my end. Feel free to take what I have or take what you have, make a blend, or find your own way, because no one's settings are going to be perfect for you. You find your own settings and make them how you like it. This is just an over encompassing of what I like to use. As always though, thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed. Quick reminder, I like to stream every weekday at night, so feel free to follow me on socials. Follow me on twitch.tv/EasySU. Keep up to date with the streams, hop in, say hi, and we're just getting started in XDefiant. I've been grinding out the camos and we got a long way to go. With that being said, hope you have a great rest of your day, week, evening, night, morning, wherever you are, what time it is around you. Have a good one.